Gunfighters, are you ready for another episode of Gunfighter Life? Well, saddle up, because ready or not, here we go. The podcast where we talk about guns and gunfighting the right way with God at the center, Judeo-Christian values, and real-world first-hand experience. So, who am I? Who is this person talking to you from across the internet? Why should you listen? First and foremost, I am a Christian, a servant of God, and a follower of Jesus Christ. God has blessed me to do many things in my life, for I could do nothing apart from Him. U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran, did a couple of tours in Iraq. As an assaultman after my combat tours, I was an urban warfare instructor for the Marine Corps under Mojave Viper. Also served in the U.S. Army, both full-time and part-time National Guard. Also did several years in law enforcement, LAPD. I worked regular assignments and more specialized assignments. Been a private contractor for a 3-letter government agency. That's all I'll say about that. Been blessed to be a state rifle and pistol champion and West Coast Regional Rifle Champion. Won more shooting competitions with the talent that God's given me than I can actually remember. Was blessed to be the commander of a tactical team in a large metropolitan area. Our primary job, the reason we primarily existed, was to stop active shooters. I got the opportunity to head up and be the commander of that team. I grew up around guns, hunting and shooting and competing at a very early age. Been blessed to hunt all over this beautiful country, from whitetail on the East Coast to mule deer on the West Coast, and bear and elk and all manner of things. I've even been a professional big game hunter and guide. But again, most importantly, I'm a Christian. And I am your host, Michael Milito. Welcome to the podcast. The ultimate survival shotgun. And I believe the shotgun is the ultimate survival tool. Now, I'm not so vain as to think that everybody should agree with me. You might think the AR is the ultimate survival weapon. You might think that the Ruger 10-22 or some other 22 is the ultimate survival weapon. To which I would say, use it, run with it, train with it, get some actual real-world tactical training, and actually go out and hunt with it, if that's what you believe. I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. I'm here to tell you briefly, go over again. If you've listened for any length of time, you've probably heard this before, so forgive the redundancy, but we get new listeners all the time, why I think the shotgun is the ultimate survival weapon. And then we'll get into kind of my ultimate survival setup. The shotgun is, in my opinion, the most versatile small arm we can own. It is arguably, and almost inarguably, it's almost case settled, the most effective short-range defensive weapon we can have. A full payload of buckshot, pick your favorite type or load, is a devastating load for home defense, for common defensive distances. I'm going to say that the shotgun, in my opinion and my experience, is the best tool for putting meat on the table and defending oneself from dangerous game. I can hunt a mourning dove. I can take it out of the air. I can also stop a charging grizzly bear. In fact, it's many guides' go-to gun is a 12 gauge with slugs. I've taken my biggest bear to date with a 12 gauge. And as we all know from Napoleon Dynamite, it's great for wolverines as well. But seriously, the shotgun, nothing else rivals it in its versatility, because nothing has the flexibility. Just buy different types of ammo. Don't think that you can't get so hungry you're not eating things like Tweety birds and robins and things like that. And the shotgun can do that. Not only that, but you can shoot them Oscar Mike on the move. You might think that when the apocalypse happens, you're going to transform, no, you're going to metamorphosize into Rambo and just be awesome with all your weapons. Just by osmosis, maybe, from all the post-apocalyptic movies and stuff you've seen. But even so, even if you can shoot that mourning dove flying through the air with your AR-15, are you going to be able to eat it afterwards? I'm not saying that AR-15s are not good, that you shouldn't have them. I own them. I think you should own them. I'm saying for a one ultimate survival long gun. Because if things do get bad and you end up on foot, man-portable systems, you're probably not taking, a dozen guns in your battery. You're probably taking a long gun and a handgun at best. Now, you may decide you want the 22 because you can carry more ammo, in which case I'm not going to argue with you. I did a whole show on the Ultimate Survival 22. I think that would be the silver medal. That'd probably be my next choice. However, if it's for defense because I have to defend my life, I need it right now, and I need what's effective right now. You could argue that the 22 is an okay defensive weapon. I'd certainly say that it's deadly, but if I'm in a gunfight with somebody and I had to pick, I'd much rather pick a 12 gauge versus a 22. 12 gauge is an awesome defensive weapon. I was LAPD. I worked at a lot of specialized assignments too, where I could have full auto CAR-15s and literal Thompson submachine guns because we still had them in inventory. All kinds of stuff. I often would take a Remington 870 with buckshot and slugs. Why? It's the best tool for the job. It's not about what looks cool or what I can run fast split times with between targets. It's about what's going to keep me breathing on the other side of that door. And in many likely defensive scenarios, that shotgun would be my choice. And yeah, you can do CQB with an AR. Who knows how many hours I have. I was an urban warfare instructor for the Marine Corps. Who knows how many hours I have behind an M16 doing urban warfare, both doing it and teaching it. But I go back again to hunting. Not a great hunting tool. Yeah, you can do it. You can kill a deer with an AR, but it's a lot different than if we're talking about moving from one location to another, bugging out and getting a quick opportunity at, let's say, a moving deer. Being able to take it and drop it in its tracks with double-aught buck versus sitting in a stand and shooting with an AR and having who knows how long and all the resources to recover it. If you shoot a deer and you can't recover it quickly and eat it because you're on the move, then you just gave away your position, wasted a round of ammo, and you don't have a deer to eat. So, for those reasons and a lot more, breaching, a lot of other reasons, I think the shotgun is the ultimate survival weapon. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole because the focus of today's episode is going to be on my ultimate survival shotgun setup. Now, I should mention that patrons had basically something very similar to this months ago in video form. But I learned from feedback a while ago, taking a video and just putting the MP3 file out doesn't work as well because I'm assuming you're seeing what I'm saying and it doesn't come across well. So I'm going to do this for the audio. I'm going to go through it. It's in front of me, or behind me I should say when I'm talking to the microphone, but I'm going to talk about the setup. First, I'm going to talk about my two go-to shotguns. You may think by listening to this I'm a gun collector and I have a menagerie, tons of different guns. I don't. I'm a gunfighter, not a gun collector. I have two go-to 12-gauge shotguns. Benelli M2. For a long time, that was my one. Like, if I could only pick one. And for a lot of things, still, it is my number one. But overall, it's been dethroned. If I could just pick one. The gun that rides with me, that rides, not literally shotgun, aside from me, it actually rides behind the front seat of my truck as my truck gun, is the Mossberg 590. Specifically, the Mossberg 590S Van Comp Edition, and I think those are important distinctions. The S, and this is the reason it dethroned the M2, it lets me shoot the short shells. That's one of the big downfalls that people tout about why the shotgun is less than desirable, because the ammo is heavy. And I won't deny that, the ammo is heavy, but it's a lot less heavy when you get the short shells. They are much smaller and much lighter than traditional shells. And if we're talking about like birdshot, those short shells, they've got plenty of killing power for doves and quail and small game. And they weigh less, so I don't have to carry a full payload, 1.25 ounce load for the 12 gauge to kill a dove. Why not carry something smaller and lighter? I can carry a lot more ammo if it's the lighter short shells. Now, for some things, I still want the big, beefy, full power loads. Like if it's my go-to defensive load, I want a full power load for that. But for a lot of things, like I said, small game, I can use those lighter loads, and they'll work just fine. Also, the Van Comp Edition. Now, Van Comp has worked with shotguns for a long time. They're pretty well known in like the tactical shotgun community, I believe. And they do a couple of things to the shotgun, very technical I won't get into. A big thing they do is backbore, which you can look into that for yourself what that is. improving group size and downrange performance, increasing range with common buckshot loads and things like that. And then also they port the barrel, and that really comes in handy. I was really impressed the first time I got this shotgun and ran it and felt the recoil on it, which it's no 22. It's still got recoil, but for a 12 gauge full power loads, it's not bad. And I gotta believe the porting has something to do with that. That Van Competition 590S, S for the short shells. That's important because not all shotguns will run the short shells. And some, you can get an adapter to run short shells, but then you can only run short shells. The 590S will run a mixed bag. You could throw a couple of short shells in there, a couple of regular shells in there, some 2 3/4, even some big 3-inch shells, and it'll run them all back to back, one right after another, just fine. I am not the guy that says pumps are always the best. For a long time, my go-to was a semi-auto. A lot of advantages to the semi-auto. You can shoot them one-handed. It's a big deal. I think mostly the ability to shoot that smaller in ammo and carry more of it is a bigger advantage. So I still have the Benelli M2. It's still a home defense gun. It's still a great gun. Still an awesome hunting gun. I have a couple of barrels for it. One of the great things about shotguns, their versatility. But for my go-to, it stays behind the truck because if something happens, and that's what I have, that'd be my one long gun. That Mossberg 590S Van Comp. But it's a system. It rides in a scabbard, and not just some chintzy, like the dirt cheapest Chinese scabbard, but a thick, robust scabbard that covers important parts of the gun, stops dirt and nasty stuff from getting inside there, covers up I'll get to that later, but I run an optic on this gun, protects the muzzle. It also has MOLLE attachments. My bug out bag also rides behind me in the truck. I could attach the entire sling. Also, my bug out bag has a compartment where I can just throw the shotgun in the center of it, but it'll attach there. It also just has a strap, and I attach another strap to it, so I can literally just grab that and throw it on like a backpack and take off with it if I have to. That scabbard is awesome. I've gone to using it on a lot of other things. It's a fantastic choice. Now, I don't have these listed on the gear store. I just don't have a lot of them. If you really want one, you can contact me at goodshepherdtraining.com. I can't promise you because I don't know how many people are going to contact me, but if you really want one of these scabbards, I'll see what I can do. I don't have a lot of them. There's a bunch of other gear on the gear shop, goodshepherdtraining.com. You can go to goodshepherdtraining.com and contact me. There's a contact me link on there if you want one of these scabbards. I'm not promising you that I can get you one, but they are awesome. They're really good for a shotgun. They're not going to work for like an AR with an optic. I don't think it'll fit in there, but for a sleek gun like a shotgun, it's phenomenal. This shotgun, I prefer, let's start at the top. Let's start with chokes. I prefer an improved cylinder choke for an all-around choke. I also have an opened, just cylinder bore choke in there, and a full choke. Again, one of the cool things about the scabbard, I have a little pouch that sits on there that has different chokes, part of the versatility of the shotgun, but for most things, riding on it for most of the time, improved cylinder. Some people might argue that modified is the best all-around choke. I like improved cylinder. You can disagree, that's fine. That's the cool thing about modern shotguns. Most of them you can interchange the chokes. Improved cylinder choke. Moving back, the 590S has the full length magazine tube underneath. Holds, I think, if I remember correctly, 13 short shells. Let me look this up actually and verify it. The Van Comp Model 602, which is the 590S with their things done to it. Capacity of 13 plus 1 with the mini shells, 8 plus 1 with standard shells, and 7 plus 1 with the 3-inch shells. It also came with really good, what I would call combat iron sights, peep sights on there. However, that rear sight was so beefy that it did not allow me to mount an optic with it. So I bought an XS peep sight that comes as part of the rail. And I wanted to attach a red dot to this. And if you've listened for any length of time, you'll know that I have a thing where I don't trust my life to things with batteries. Now, it has backup iron sights. So when the battery goes dead, it has a really easy to remove just knob on this Burris Fastfire. I can literally just twist it and throw the optic away. At least I have the red dot until then. I have run it. I have done some speed trials with it. I like the red dot on there. Except if it's really, really hard times and I can't get another battery or the battery goes dead, I just take it off. Right? I just take it off and be done with it. And I still have really good peep sights on there. That excess sight with the rail allows me to mount an optic if I choose. And I do. Now the Van Comp model also comes with a Magpul furniture. I really, really like it. I don't attach a bunch of stuff to it. I basically have one small section of rail with a white light. White lights are important for CQB and things like that. Again, batteries die, batteries go out. They're no longer a thing. I just throw it away. Get rid of it if I can't find more batteries. It is what it is. But until then, I have a white light for doing CQB, room clearing, things like that. Positive identification of targets. I like the Magpul furniture. Now, contrary to probably popular doctrine, even on my tactical shotguns, and I consider this an all-around shotgun, I don't really like pistol grips. I'll deal with them if I have to, but the grip on this is nice because it's a good positive grip, but it's not a pistol grip. Shotguns point well. That's kind of one of the great advantages about them, and I think taking that pistol grip and putting it on there kind of takes that away. If you want a pistol grip, that's fine, just it's not my first choice. Also did a camo treatment on this shotgun, so it breaks up the outline a little bit. I also have a pretty simple black web sling attached with super high speed 550 cord. It works well, it's simple, it's light, it's an awesome solution. Also, I should mention on the scabbard I have 2 straps. One of those can become a beefier sling should I want a beefier sling. One of those slings is also a bandolier, which holds a bunch more rounds. Going to the outside of the scabbard, I have a fold-out shotgun ammunition carrier. It works way better than I thought. I bought it. I thought, maybe gimmicky, I'll give it a shot. It wasn't very expensive. It is awesome. It's a really good way to hold rounds. Also, on the outside, I have another bigger pouch. It used to be an IFAK pouch. Now it's an ammunition pouch. It holds several boxes of ammo. I also have right underneath it, how it rides in the truck, a ammo can where I can grab it and go. Holds 100 rounds of 12 gauge, 4 standard boxes, although that's not how I have it configured. I have a bunch of smaller boxes in there with a bunch of different loads. Also, perhaps controversial, and I'm not telling you to do this, I have a bayonet affixed to the scabbard of this shotgun. Why? It's a really good knife, number one. A good utilitarian tool. It is an M9 bayonet. It has a saw on it. It has a wire cutter on it, which both things might come in very handy. And it's a bayonet, and I do have a bayonet training. I'm probably a very small portion of the population that has legit bayonet training. And why not? If I can have a good utility knife that attaches on there that I could also have as a bayonet, why not? It might have some real-world application, especially in things like mobs or riots where I'm dealing with tons of people, and I don't want them reaching out and grabbing the end of my gun. Also, I mentioned a choke tube pouch holder that I have. I also carry in there some emergency cleaning supplies, a tornado brush, which are awesome if you don't know what tornado brushes are, especially if you shoot slugs quite a bit. Those tornado brushes. You might consider one of those. They work really well. I also have in there just a 12 gauge bore snake, which is really good for cleaning out the barrel. Now let's talk about ammo, because ammo, I think, is what makes a shotgun so versatile. My go-to load for in the truck is double-aught buck. I like the Federal Flight Control double-aught buck. A lot of things in the gun world, sadly, I think are gimmicks. And I've been around Federal Flight Control long enough to know that it's not a gimmick. It works. If you use it the way that it's intended. If you shoot it through some tighter chokes, it may actually be worse. But if you use it the way it's intended, that Federal Flight Control is really good for buckshot. Double-aught buckshot Federal Flight Control is my go-to load. If you've listened for any length of time, you might think, wait, he recommends number 4 buck. And I do for most things. But again, this is riding behind the seat of my truck. If I need a truck gun and I'm in a truck, it's likely that I might have to shoot at a vehicle for whatever reason. There's a vehicle ramming incident, a mass casualty incident where somebody's trying to destroy as many lives as possible with their vehicle. I might want a little bit more penetration power. In that case, I do like double-aught buck. Double-aught buck is primarily what's in there. I also have a couple of rounds of number 4 buck on the outside in the side saddle. And I also have several slugs on the outside in the side saddle. And that's how it goes if I want even more penetration. Then the double-aught buck, I'll throw in a slug. And you should practice to know how to do your ammo exchange drills to be able to throw a slug in that chamber. In my first pouch, that fold-open ammo compartment that I carry on the scabbard, I have my dope written down on a Right in the Rain card. If there's a long period of time that goes by or somebody else gets this shotgun, they'll know where it shoots, how it's zeroed. Mine has written, thusly, Mossberg 590S irons, 25-0. Red dot, plus 2 inches at 25. True ball, deep penetrator, Federal. Plus 2 inches at 25. Plus 3 at 50. Zeroed at 100. 3 feet at 200. Now let's talk about the ammo in here. I have a couple of short shells right on the top. Birdshot, light loads. Already went into that a little bit for small and light game. Also in here, I have some high brass 12 pellet double-aught buck. Below that, I have some really good Winchester AA loads. If you don't know what those are, if you're not acquainted with like that kind of shooting, they're really kind of good premium, let's say, small game loads, target loads, small game loads. Below that, I have some turkey loads for that in-between game size. Turkeys, ducks, things like that. Medium small game coyotes, if I didn't want to use buckshot. The remainder is double-aught buck and slugs. I also have a small surgical scalpel in there. In the other small ammo pouch, there is a couple of boxes of the mini shells, number 8 shot birdshot. Also have one of my favorite loads in here in a smaller box. Grab that so I can give you the dope on there. It's one of my favorite loads for hunting, for home defense, things like that. It is a buckshot, 3-inch, 41 pellets of number 4 buck. 41 pellets of number 4 buck. As opposed to your standard 9 pellets of double-aught or in a 3-inch 12 pellets. 41 pellets of number 4 buck. I also have a small box of those mini shells in here of number 4 buck. Even the very small mini shells have 15 pellets of number 4 buck. Now, I mentioned the flexibility of the shotgun. I do also have a less lethal option on here, the rubber baton loads. And I've actually tested these and was quite impressed by them. Not everything do you want to use deadly force. Again, the versatility of the shotgun. Also, I'm going to say this is at the time of this recording, as you should be in survival and preparedness and gunfighting, always trying to improve. I've noticed going through, I just opened my ammo can, that it's pretty ragged. I've had this ammo can, it's been across the country, the hinge fell off of it. I think I can probably repair it, but it might be time to, spend a little bit of that Patreon money, splurge, spend, I don't know, $8, $15, whatever they are with inflation now, a new one of these plastic shotgun ammo cans. I'm going to go through some of the loads that are in here. I have an entire proper 25 round box of number 6 shot. Number 6 is probably my favorite all-around shot. It's great for small game. Before it was mandatory to use steel shot on ducks. It was common for ducks too to use number 6 lead shot. Don't use number 6 steel shot for ducks. I don't recommend that. But it was a common load back in the lead shot days for ducks. Waterfowl and things like that. I have a 5 round box, 27 pellet, number 4 buck. I have several boxes of that Federal flight control buckshot. Although checking that, I don't think they're all full, so check your kit. This is a good reminder for me to go through and make some adjustments. 1 box of Winchester double-aught buck and rifled slugs. And that's for right now. Again, subject to change, and especially since I see some of these boxes I've broken into and used, I'll have to go back and maybe restock that ammo that's not in this go-to grab-and-go kit. Just a quick reminder and a thank you if you are a patron. Thank you. You already have access to videos of this. And if you're not and you want to become one, mostly to support the podcast, I'd be humbled and very thankful. And you should get access to all the back content, and there's quite a bit of content on there. Don't really have any desire to be YouTube famous. There's a lot of videos on Patreon that you're going to see on Patreon. Talking about the ammo for a second, notice I don't just have double-up buck. I don't just have double-up buck and slugs. Those loads are great. That's part of the versatility of the shotgun. If you want to hunt with the shotgun, you need hunting loads. If you want to do defensive work with the shotgun, you need defensive loads. And I'm not telling you that you have to run out there and do exactly what I do. I'm not telling you that you need a Van Comp Edition 590S. It's a great shotgun. Again, I don't have a ton of guns. I also don't want to be a beta tester in a gunfight or trust my life to junk. I have run the shotgun. I have tested it. It's a good platform. The 590 is a known, trusted platform. Van Comp is a known, trusted company. Don't have a lot of guns, but if I'm going to trust my life to a gun, I want it to be a good gun. That said, you don't have to spend a ton of money. Honorable mention, if you want a similar kind of setup, you might look at the Maverick 88. It is a cheaper shotgun, but it's a great value, and they have a reputation for working really well. So if you just want a basic shotgun, you might look at that. Get the scabbard, get some ammo on it, a way to carry it. I should also mention part of my going out and surviving with the shotgun. I don't just talk about this in theory. That was one of my things I like to do when I lived in Idaho. Go into the giant wilderness areas with, by God's grace, a Bible and a shotgun, and be fine. A 12-gauge shotgun, I think, is the best tool. From personal experience, not from some theory on a forum or whatever, from real-world experience. Both tactical and practical hunting. I cannot recall the number of beasts I have slain with a shotgun, or the number of tactical situations and training I've done with a shotgun. Again, talking about survival, ARs are great. Super cool. Also, the main battle rifle. I said I don't have a lot of guns, but I am very blessed to have a Scar 17, a Scar Heavy. I wanted one of those for a long, long time, and sold a couple of guns and was working as a professional gunfighter, and I thought it was pertinent to have one, not just for fun, but to actually use. And I have that gun. But if I had to pick one go-to long gun, no other caveats, for really hard times, I'm going to pick the shotgun. I'm a fan of breathing and eating. I also have a really nice setup. Ruger 1022 takedown. Really good. It's my survival 22. But it's not my one go-to gun. That would be a shotgun. Just think about survival practically. Not what looks cool. Not what they carry on your favorite post-apocalyptic movie or TV show. What is actually going to help you survive? Think about that. And give some real thought to the shotgun. If you consider it and really are circumspect about it and you decide you want something else, I'm not going to knock you. You don't have to agree with me on everything. In fact, I hope that you don't, because I'm wrong. I'm not right about everything. If you want perfection, don't look to me. Look to our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. With that, that's probably a good place to transition into our tactical tip of the day and then our tactical verse of the day. Before I do, I want to say, in the month of March 2023, I'll be doing a giveaway for new patrons. I'll be giving away a Mora. That is a Mora knife, really kind of big in the survival bushcraft community, as well as one of these survival scabbards that I talked about. They're really good scabbards. I really do like them. I'm going to give away one of those, a pull-through shotgun cleaner, and a choke tube holder. Very much in keeping with today's episode. That's a pretty good start to your setup for the ultimate survival shotgun. You can get entered to win that by becoming a patron this month. The standard default setting on there is $5. You can do more, you can do less. You could do $1. I'm going to be honest, I could do a lot of other jobs and make more money than this podcast makes right now. But you guys wouldn't get the information. I wouldn't be doing nearly as many podcasts. Because this is what I do now, by God's grace, for a living, is give you guys this information. And if you value that information, even though you're getting it for free, hopefully you'll see the value and consider supporting the message. Helping not just yourself, but other men get prepared. I would be humbled and blessed by your support. With that, I'm going to roll into the tactical tip. This is going to apply more to rifles, but I talked about always trying to improve. Like I said, I might go back right after this and improve my ammo loadout. Tweak it a little bit. Well, recently, I been thinking about it for a while. I figured it's time to try a Rhodesian sling. It's made popular, I think, in the scout rifle community, but it transcends that. I think it's a good sling. I've been experimenting with them on one of my go-to hunting rifles in dry fire. I think it's a proven concept more than just a gimmick. And I might actually think about running one on a shotgun. You know, talking about some of that training I got in LAPD, we learned to take hostage shots with a shotgun, with buckshot. Because at close range, it's pretty much all one big clump, and it can be devastating. We trained on that, hostage shots with a shotgun with buckshot. I don't know if they still do that, but we certainly did. By we, I mean my class. Rhodesian sling wouldn't be a bad choice on a shotgun, but if you're talking about rifles, whether it's an AR or a bolt gun, look into the Rhodesian sling. Maybe you can make one for yourself if you're crafty, you want to do that. I'm sure I could probably make one going to Hobby Lobby or something. There's companies that make them. The Rhodesian sling, the Ching sling if you have 3 sling swivel attachments for a true scout rifle, but most people aren't going to have that. I think they're going to have 2 attachment points. Maybe look into the Rhodesian sling. It's not just a gimmick. They're not crazy expensive. So maybe look into that. And since I don't want to just give you a product as a tactical tip, shotguns are individualistic, much like a girl is. Don't assume because the last girl you dated liked Thai food that the next girl you're going to date, if you're still dating, I'm so thankful that I'm not and happily married. What a wonderful gift from God. But don't assume that one is going to be like the other. You need to get out there and shoot and pattern your shotgun with the loads you intend to use, with your choke. Don't assume because somebody else, even if it's the same model shotgun with a cylinder choke or improved cylinder choke with a certain load, is going to shoot the same as your shotgun with the improved cylinder choke. You need to test that for yourself. Much like a rifle, I don't think anybody that's serious about gunfighting that really knows is going to get a rifle and be like, oh, it's probably zeroed for this ammo. Like, you're going to shoot it and test it and probably have to zero it, right? You need to test and know how your certain loads, your home defense loads, your truck gun loads, performs at different distances. You should probably know, not think, yeah, I can make that hostage shot pretty easy at 5 yards with this gun. 15 yards, no way, I'm not trying that shot. But you need, and I'm just throwing numbers out there, don't take that from me. You need to test that out. Know at what distance that load out of your gun starts going from one big ragged fist-size hole to throwing pellets one place or another. You need to know that for you. So get out there and test. Speaking of testing, I'm not about to go shoot, but since I have the shotgun out, might as well go ahead and get some dry fire done. Before I do that, the tactical verse of the day. Verse of the day. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them eternal life. And they shall never perish, neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all. No one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. With that, men, thanks for listening, and have a blessed day.